us to let us gather here in the house of the Lord. May we all take in the message today about bullying. We pray that everyone that comes and once you leave, go home safely because the roads are getting slippery and dangerous, and just have a good time and enjoy our company in Jesus' name. Amen. Now the pastor asked me to have a couple of more anti-bullying classes due to the fact that we have witnessed a lot of hitting going on. And our main topics that we want to emphasize is kids and adults keeping their hands to themselves, keeping their hands to their own body. But I want to do a different spin this time about the bullying problem. I want the kids to see the effects that it has on the parents. Because a lot of parents do come up to me and ask me, can you do another class, can you do another class, can you do another class? So we're going to review the problem with bullying, why people bully, and what is it about bullying that makes young adults flip out, especially siblings. I know about 5 or 6 different families with the siblings who will probably destroy someone that they don't know to defend their own brothers and sisters, but they are doing it amongst themselves. I have seen brothers come in with bruised up, black eyes, bust their nose, and it makes you think, how much do you love your brothers or your sisters that will cause you to harm each other in that manner, knowing that you love them? Imagine if you didn't love them. How much hatred can you have in your heart to raise your hands up against your own siblings and bruise them up in that manner? Don't get me wrong, me and my brothers, when we were young, we were brought up in the streets of New York City. We had no parents' authority, so it was a free-for-all. But when you're in the house of the Lord and being raised in the house of the Lord, and to go home and beat yourself senseless, and then you got to ask, what does mama think? Your mom's dead, and I'm not pointing no one out, but the mom's there to pick up the pieces. She got to juggle all this mess. She got to deal with Tom, Jerry, Gilbert, and try to comfort the whole family, bring all the emotions down, and everybody's got to live in peace. But now if a stranger did it, your brothers, you're band together, and you will defend each other like your life depended on it. But then you turn around and put that same hatred towards each other. It makes no sense. It's not intelligent. It's not intelligent thinking. This is why it's so important that we think before we act. The last thing that I or anybody will want to see is that moment where your actions have gone too far. Because the moment your actions have gone too far, the rest of the decisions that are made for you or made for you is by a judge. And a judge ain't going to care about what, why, who, and what happened. He's just going to know that a crime was committed, and he's going to sentence you to whatever he feels like. For example, let's say you. He'll say, young man, go outside, see if that finished building across the street is 25 stories high. And you go outside, you just look out the window. You're around, ain't no building out there. You go, by the time you come out of jail, there'll be one out there. That's a long sentence. Especially with the girls. I've seen a lot of nitpicking, name calling, chastising, and that's got to end. Remember, here in the Alpha Omega Ministry, we are, whether we like it or not, a big, united family. You know what I mean? We all got to take care of each other. And we all got to do it under one God. And we all got to praise to the Lord always to help us, to keep us in the right path. And always think about your actions before you do them. Before you strike somebody, or before you get to that point of anger, ask mama or papa's, uncle, grandma, can I please just have 5 minutes alone and take a walk? And if she asks you why, you just say, I don't want no physical confrontation with anyone. Because, believe me, it happens to me with my own family. And let me tell you, when you're in the mercy of the Lord, there ain't nothing your own family can do. There's nothing your mama can do. There ain't nothing your papa can do. I got into a physical confrontation with one of my cousins. And it was over and most confrontations over the dumbest things. And this thing was over so petty that even still shocks me today how petty it was. If I do recall, it was over a can of Coca-Cola. And we went to blows. We went to blows so bad over a can of Coca-Cola that by the time we were done, he was a bloody mess, I was in handcuffs, and that can of Coca-Cola, by the time the lawyer's fee and everything was done, cost me close to $10,000. Because that's the way it is. And 2 years of probation, and community service, and anger management programs. When you make the wrong decisions, the judge, guarantee and believe, will make the rest of the decisions for you. This is why it's so important to think before you act. You know, when I was sentenced, I thought when they first put the handcuffs on me for beating someone up, I thought it was like I just wanted a gold medal. I was acting all big and bad, walking, just threw me in the police car, and I thought I was big and bad, but when the judge said no bail and sent me to Rikers Island, New York City, and I see no family came, I saw no postcards in Christmas, and I was locked up at Rikers Island, and I see no family member, because Rikers Island is a boat. That you got to go to it's a boat, it's like a little island. There's two, there's one's island, and then the sub Rikers Island is a boat. No one is going to go visit you once you're in jail. The first 3 months, it'll be the same street. It'll be crazy. Everyone will come. But as time goes by, people forget. Because people got their own dilemmas and problems to deal with. So once you're locked up, let me tell you, once you make that wrong decision and you go too far with bullying or hurt someone severely, you will be facing some form of punishments, even some sentence, even some incarceration. This is why it's very important that you think before you act. You know, the original bully program, we took it lightly because we didn't know which direction to go with it. But let's look at it in reality. Let's look at it the way it is. You know, we are all parents here, not all of them, just the adults I'm talking about. And we see the direction some things can go. Amen. You know? And I even seen kids bully their own parents. Amen. You know, I seen it even in my own family. Kids, they've got so blasted out of their mind with all kinds of drugs and all stuff out there in the street that once they bullied their own parents, there was no turning back. Before they knew it, they would do it 10 years in jail. Now, the mother sent the commissary the first month or 2 months, but let me tell you, that won't last that long. Because once the bills start adding up, you know, they have to say you take for Peter, take for Paul to feed Peter. That's what happened. They'll cut you loose. You know, this is why I say it's so important. You can't take to blows, especially with your own siblings. Because when you become a bully in your own household, it affects the whole family. And the one that suffers the most is your moms. The next time you take the blows, one of your brothers or sisters, when you're all done feeling good about yourself, look at your mama's face. If that face doesn't tell you how disappointed and hurt and discouraged she is, nothing will. This is why it's important to think before you act. You know, and I'm not targeting no one out there. It's just a general conversation. Because it happened to me. I have 4 brothers. I know where the other one came from. And I have 3 sisters. And we're not a tight-knit family. We have so much roughness going on that as adults came, as we became adults, we all went our separate ways. For Christmas, none of us called, not one of us. You know, we didn't say no Merry Christmas. We didn't say, you know, I spent my Christmas since, as you seen yesterday. And I tell you, that was the best party I've ever been to. One, it was drug-free. alcohol free, violent free, you know, and the birthday boy, man, hallelujah, praise the Lord, glory be to God. I was looking at the news. You know what I heard? How family members celebrated and things got tragic and people killing people. I don't know if you've seen this in the news. This guy in New London got killed in a Christmas party. Some other guy got killed at another party. You know, that's what happens when you mix alcohol and family. Because the littlest thing could trigger things. The littlest bump, the littlest remark, if someone thinks you're bullying them or someone thinks that you're looking flyer than them or better looking, that will trigger people to, especially if they're drunk, and a drunk person has no good judgment, in fact, has no judgment at all. Before you know it, you got a battle in your hand. Now, once the battle starts, it's your life or his life. Either way, you're losing. Because if he kills you, you're going to be planted. If you kill him, you're going to be incarcerated. So it's no win-win situation. This is why it's also good to stay away from any alcohol, drug-infested parties. Because nothing good comes from it. Now, if any of the mothers like to speak, that's fine. If you like to speak, but there's a 5-minute limitation. This is orders by Rev.Ron. He said anyone that speaks only has 5 minutes. And then we'll get into more of the bullying. We're going to do this for 3 days. And this is an order by our very own pastor, Dr. Elaine Burks, because she wants us to be a great family. We want to be an exceptional role model church. We want to be the beacon light of Waterbury. We just want to be a walk-by church. We want people, when they see us, say, hey, that's a member of Alpha Omega. I was at the unemployment the other night, and I was preaching. Not even know I was preaching. I don't know how I started preaching, but I started preaching. And when I told the guy where I was from, he goes, I got to go to that church. See, we got to lead by example. So if they see us being bullied, they go, what they teaching over there at Alpha Omega Church? Do they got a boxing ring in the backyard? See, we can't be bullies. We got to end bullying. You understand? So, you got my cars, don't you guys? You can always call me. I'll pick you up. We'll go for a walk. We can talk. Coach, my house. We'll talk, man. But don't ever go to blows with anybody. I would never want to see you, man. When you came in that day, sitting there, my heart broke when I saw that the way you was bruised up. That reminded me when I was a kid, my grandfather kicked me in the face. When I was your age, my grandfather kicked me so hard in the face, he shattered my eye socket. This is why I learned karate and I learned boxing. I learned originally to defend myself. But the more I learned, the more I learned that wasn't the way to go, hurting nobody. And instead, I started helping. I never liked the bully in the sense that I don't like seeing no one hurting anyone. But what breaks me up more is when brothers go at it, or sisters, because it hurts the mother. Let me tell you, the pain that inflicts in your mother's heart, let me tell you, man, you don't know what your mother feels when she sees you that way. So this is just something I want all of you to think about when you fight as siblings. It never gets, what was it, better if it continues. Okay? All right, you want to speak? Everybody got a 5-minute limit.
Can we come over there? Or?
You come right here.
I really want to touch on this subject. One, I come from New Haven, Connecticut. I come from a bullying town. I come from a projects where if you didn't have older siblings, people took advantage of that. So I went from being a bully to after I got my first punch in the face and I knew I could take it, I became the bully. I became the bully to pay back all the bullies that bullied me. But the thing ain't cool is bullying itself, because a lot of time it's like 3 or 4 different style of people who get bullied. That's the quiet person, the church boys and girls, that are referencing God and walking in the right way. People fear what they don't understand. So when they see a young kid from Alpha and Omega that can quote the King James Bible and half the grown people in this world can't even read the King James Bible. They fear that with the one thing that they can't understand. So when they see a young kid that goes to Alpha and Omega Church, that's walking in the white light of the Lord and not intimidated by the things of the world, they try to tend to bully, to take advantage of these kids like they don't have toughness. You know, the whole thing with bullying is about self-confidence, about having confidence within yourself, you know. And the one thing, the main thing I want to touch on with bullying, if you are being bullied, do not ever let that hold that in your heart. Always come to find somebody to tell. Find somebody to tell, you know. You go look for somebody to tell. I don't care if it's another kid. You tell somebody, look, I need help because I'm scared of this person. See, there's 3 or 4 different types of bullying. You got bullying by popularity. Popularity is the kid that's so popular in the hood that he can say, yo, bust him up for me, man. You know, he become the hit man. And he's popular, and a lot of his friends is bullies because he's friends with this guy. And if you mess with this guy gonna come see you anyway. You know what I mean? So you got that bully by committee. A lot of his team are little punks. They're little scrubs. They're guys that ain't got heart at all. You know? But then they got you kids, the bullies. You kids got a form of bullying. You know how it could be just Sister Pauline in this church and a bunch of y'all little kids and she saying, yo, stop, sit down, and all that there. And y'all bullied by committee. The bunch of kids. That, you know, kids do that. Bullied by committee. You know how you go to the rec center? You go to the rec center, your guys be there, and one little kid get in an argument, and then the whole team of kids jump them, and then say, yo, we messed them up, man. We busted them up, but it was 20 y'all against one. You know what I mean? And then you brag how you beat up not you, kids. So don't think I'm pointing that finger at nobody. But that's bullying by committee. That's not bullying. That's jumping. That's a bunch of punks trying to get some recognition off this little kid. You know what I mean? And then there's bullying where, because I don't display the toughness that the next person's displayed, and I'm walking in the light of the Lord, and I'm not that way, guys that are tough tend to come and underestimate the church man or the quiet man or the man that like to mind his own business. You know what I'm saying? See, we as church people, as of God, we are going to always be challenged on the devil's side in every way. You know what I mean? So when it comes down to bullying, that's never good. You know, sometimes we could bully people without even thinking about it. You know, you got the bullies that come up to you. A lot of the time when you got a bully, you notice he got 3 or 4 people with him. A bully don't come just by himself unless he's super enormous, oversized. Them bullies are just big by size. I mean, bully by size, because they stronger and bigger than us and take advantage of you. But the thing is, sometimes you got to face your own bully. You know, sometimes you got one time when one of my best friend in the world, his name Reggie Gibson. When we was little, he used to put me in the locker like Steve Urkel. You know how Steve Urkel did? They shut him in the locker and bang on the locker. Well, he used to do this to me. And then my other friend, all 3 of us used to hang together. His name Ken Harrington. He got me and slammed me against the wall one day and said, look, you're tougher than Reggie. He said, this is what you do. The next time he go to mess with you, you look at his hands. Your hands are bigger than his. Slam him up against the wall, and I bet you he won't bother you no more. Reggie was 6 foot tall, and he was only 12 years old. I was scared of this dude. This dude had 50 pounds on me easy. I was terrified of this dude. So when he put me in that locker, a lot of times I got in there just to feed his ego and know that I might have been safer in that locker, you know? But then when Kent said something to me, I went and boom, slammed Reggie up against the wall. He said, yo, it's about time you stood up for yourself.
There you go.
And me and him is best friends today. We've been friends for 40 years.
There you go. Thank
You know?
Thank you. Thank you.
It's like that part where you say, make your enemy your footstool. Sometimes you got to use you got to use this at all times. Because when it comes down to a bully, you got to really find out why is this what does this kid keep focusing on me for? What do I like? What do I have that this kid want or you know what I'm saying? What makes him want to bully me? You know what I mean? Basically, confront your bully. Don't be afraid to confront your bully, because one bully brings on other bullies. When one kid can sit there and bully you, one kid can bully you, that same next bully gonna use them tactics to bully you too.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
One
thing I want to say, I apologize for the way I spoke to you yesterday. I could have handled it differently, son.
Give him a round of applause for apologizing.
I apologize.
See, you're the hero of the day, right there. Now, hey, so let's recognize the signs of bullying. Whom do you know that teases a lot? Anybody? Whom do you know that likes to tease people out? Just by raising your hands. Well, teasing is a very cruel way of bullying. Teasing is probably one of the most hurtful ways that you can bully someone.
You mean the lesser bullies?
Yeah, well, you know, teasing hurt.
I got bullied the lady
Who do you know that likes to talk about a person, you know, like 2 or 3 gathered together just to talk about a person that is so hurt that it could make someone's feelings so hurtful? You know, there's also a form of bullying when you can outcast a person. It's like we're all playing football, but we leave him out of the game, out of every game. Not because he's a screw, he could be the best player of them all, but just because he's him. We don't like him. He's out of here. He could be the worst, but we're going to take you all the time because we like you, but we can't stand him. He's out of the program. He ain't playing football with us anymore. That's the worst. That's also a form of bullying. Attacking someone by a team. In other words, 5 or 6 people gather together, just beat a certain person up on the way to school, from school, on the bus, on the playing field, in McDonald's or Burger King, wherever the kid prefers to eat. Wherever the team or person sees this guy, they will beat him senseless to a bloody pulp just because the egos feeds on it. That's another form of bullying. And a lot of times, when you go to the principal and complain about it, the first thing the principal does is look at these bullies' grades. And they go, hey, wait a minute. Poindexter can't bully no one. He's a straight A student. See, a lot of times they figure a kid cannot be a bully because he got some good grades. And they don't know those kids with the good grades, the most intelligent kids that there are in those schools, are the biggest bullies of them all. It's like yelling at someone constantly makes them a bully. Do you agree? If someone yelled at you everywhere you went, okay. If I was to yell at you everywhere you went, you would do everything. You would do everything in your power to avoid me, wouldn't you? If every time I saw you, I go, hey, we both wear glasses. Someone say this. Say, hey, Four Eyes, get over here. Hey, dum-dum. And then if I'm with a friend over your friend, hey, you so dumb. It's gonna demeanor you. You're gonna feel like this, like you're gonna feel so low, and they're gonna go, why is Rev.Ron always bothering me? Then once you become a preteen or 16, 17, 18, hopefully lower than that, and you're with your girlfriend, and I'm gonna say to your girlfriend, you with that? You ought to be embarrassed of yourself. Now your ego's gonna get hurt. But you're so afraid of me because I've been a bully so long, you don't know no better. So you can go to your shelter. And this is the problem with society. You know what that causes? Let me tell you what causes. All school shootings from the 1980s, 90s, and even into Sandy Hooks were caused by kids who were bullies. As sad as it is, Columbine. Those 2 kids went in that school to kill one certain person. They killed Many others except those two. I was just reading the other day, 75% of all school shootings in the early 80s, 90s, and the early 2000s were all by kids that were bullied, who were looking for the bullies. The kids that were bullied, they were looking for the guys that were bullying them. The thing is that they killed everyone except the person that was bullying them. Now another sad part about a person that's being bullied is this. 75% of kids that are bullied and seek no help and get no help are of the age of 12 to 16 commit suicide. You can look this up. I'm not making this up. I'm just letting you know the way it is. And the reason they don't get no help because girls are emotional beings. They hold everything within. They'll tell their best friend. They'll tell all their girlfriends, but they won't tell their parents. They won't tell their brothers. They won't tell. So what happens? They'll go in their room, and unfortunately, they wind up committing suicide. Now, boys, they got this machismo thing going. Well, they figure if I talk, I'm a tattletale, a snitch, I'm a rat. No one's gonna respect me no more. So they hold all that anger in, and they wind up committing suicide. And these are just kids from the age of 12 to 16. This is why it's so important that if you are being bullied, to tell someone that cares. It doesn't have to be your parents, because your parents can be the biggest bully of them all. It doesn't have to be the bus driver, because the bus driver can see you being bullied at the school. And you know, the bus driver, and honestly, I just found this out, a bus driver is not there to protect you. He's there to take you from point A to point B. He's not to get involved with anything. If you've seen every bus driver that intervene in a fight on a school bus has been terminated from their job. Not one has ever been given a Medal of Honor for saying, great job for bringing up this fight. That's never gonna happen. Because by a bus driver interfering, he's putting DECO or any other bus agency liable if one of the kids get hurt. Because he's a representative of the school system, of the bus system. So don't expect a bus driver to get involved.
They worry more about
Yes.
money than kids.
That's like amazing because in my day and age going to school, like if something happened, the bus driver would intervene because the bus driver was the one that was like, no fighting, none of this. But today, like you said, it's like a lot of times people are turning their head. When they see somebody getting attacked, they're afraid to speak up, they're afraid to say anything. I seen this video, I don't know if you've seen it, it was on YouTube or something. And it was like, they was actually staging an act of bullying. And one of the guys was just getting beat up. Everyone was just looking and just walking past. And this one girl came and was like, leave him alone, leave him alone. You know, she was hitting him. Like, leave him alone, get off of him. You know, why are you doing that? But everybody today is like turning their heads. But we would never, in my day and age, standing at the bus stop, my grandmother would speak up and say, don't do that. That's not the right thing to do.
Absolutely.
So we have to make sure that we take a stand.
In that video, I just sent it to Alfonso the other day, right? I just said, yes, it was the two guys. It was an Indian guy and a white guy. They were going to places and they were acting out like the white guy was telling the Indian guys, do my schoolwork, didn't I tell you to do my schoolwork? And people will walk away, walk around them, and it's like the story about the Good Samaritan and the Jew, how they just ignored the guy in the dirt, they just walked around him or something like that. And this little petite lady, she couldn't be that tall, was one of the first ones that actually jumped in to help these two guys who was acting out a bully scene. And they congratulated her, and they asked her why. She goes, I cannot see no one being bullied.
So in New Haven, man,
You know?
I'm lucky in New Haven when I was little, we ain't have no school buses coming to get us. And this much snow, they wasn't closing school. New Haven's all flat land. They don't care about what. You better get out there. And we had to go through three different bad neighborhoods that didn't like us coming through that neighborhood. So we had to fight going to school, fight coming home from school. And if you was one of those kids that was constantly being bullied in school, that carried on all the way to school, all the way from school. It made you don't even want to go to that school.
Yes.
And it wasn't none of that transfer in
I'm going to show
school.
you a picture that Evangelist Brick showed me. It's a great idea. I'm surprised I didn't think about it. It's like just, this here is a thermometer. She considers this thermometer the human thoughts or mind or temper. Let's say this is normalcy, and this is when you're gonna blow your casket. Oh. She says, if you know someone's bullying you, harassing you, and you feel that your temper is rising, once you get to about right here, where you know that you're gonna get to that point of no return, it doesn't make you a coward or wuss or a wimp or less of a woman or a man or young adult just to walk away. The only thing a bully wants is an audience. If you don't give him that audience, he won't bully you.
What he really needs is an audience, just to feel good, like he's doing something good.
Yes.
And there's some type of kids that just watch bullying for a little while.
Yeah.
Just watch bullying, just see it.
Yeah.
All my life, I've been a little target. Everybody used to pick on me. But I just try and ignore it. I ignore it, get my grades up, but soon something triggers me.
Yeah.
What about instead of being bullied? What about if I become the bully? Since I became a bully, but now my grades dropping. But as soon as I met God, my grades went up off the roof.
This is what you do. You don't let no one bully you, but you don't become a bully.
I didn't even need audience. I just
All you can do is this: keep your grades up and stand up for yourself. There's plenty of ways to stand up for yourself.
I seen.
This is one way. This is one way. Don't leave anything that's got to do with physical fighting as the very last result. If you could just walk to your teacher or your principal, if you go to the teacher, she ignores you, go to your guidance counselor. If they ignore you, go to your principal. If he ignores you, go to your parent. If they ignore you, you just call the cops. And you can tell them, I'm trying to do my work and I'm being bullied. If not, you come to me and we go to the program. We go to Joy's ministry. We go to Latino Unido. We're sick of kids being bullied.
And one time I made a fatal mistake.
You know, we'll call Monroe Webster, he's on the crusade with me, to end bullying. We call Georgia Davis. These are people that I know that started the Madison Project, and we're still campaigning against bullying. You know, we've been to all schools. We got a couple, and not bragging, but this year especially, we got more teachers and more custodians workers suspended from school due to the fact that they were bullies themselves. Because a lot of people think that an adult can't be the bully. And the biggest bully of them all, in some circumstances, are the adults. You know, I see parents go nuts on their children. And I beat the horn at them. Madison tells me, Dad, be quiet. I go, nah. And I'll get out the car and I say, what are you doing? At first I introduce myself, give them a card, right? At the school, I said, what are you doing? You can't be dragging that kid out the streets like this. And I said, next time I'm going to report you. And they look at me like if I lost my mind. You know, but, yeah.
I just wanted to say one more thing. One danger of not reporting your bullying is when you, as the one getting bullied, start to overboil like he said. If you're just 12, 13 years old and you getting bullied and you constantly getting bullied, and you saying to your family, yo, I'm getting tired of this dude. Tell him, I'm going to get my dad's gun and I'm going to shoot him. You know what I mean? Because now you taking your anger and letting it dictate the outcome of what's going to happen between you and this bully.
Well,
Before you get to that point, you got to tell somebody to save your own soul, to save yourself from doing something.
Unfortunately, all school shootings, well, not just say about, but great portions of all school shootings were made by the children's parents' guns. Even the very last one was the mama's guns. See, because a lot of mothers fail to recognize if their kids have a mental problem, they should have no guns in the house. You cannot buy a firearm and take your kid and show them how to shoot, knowing that he's mentally sick. You know, I mean, and it's not my place to judge. But sometimes I ask myself, what was his parent thinking? You know, I will never buy a firearm in my house. Because I don't know, even playing around, how many kids kill themselves each year just by playing with a gun?
A little.
No. The only weapon I have in my house that saves me and my family is the Bible. That's my weapon of mass destruction. That's the only weapon I need. But
I got a 100-pound pit bull.
like I said, I advocate against bullying because I don't want you or any of you guys getting hurt. So if you are being bullied, tell someone. We're gonna get popcorn? Oh, I thought you were gonna get. Okay, well, we're gonna have another, I've been ordered to have the class for 3 days, so if you like, especially if you have kids who like, I appreciate if you come tomorrow. And if you like to write an essay or just something, what you personally think, not what I think, but what you personally think, what bullies are, and what you can do to stop a bully, help the situation about bullying. You can write it down. I'd be more than honored and happy to read it if that's what you want. But if you want it to be kept private, I would also respect that too. But I would appreciate if you could write something down on it, and if you want, you come up to the podium and read it, and that's also a form of outlet. Because believe me or not, when someone messes with you to the point of no return and you have no one to turn to, sometimes it's good just to grab a pencil and paper and write it down. It's like a journal, you just write it down, and you got to find your own form of outlet that does not consist with no violence. Because violence only brings violence, and that brings incarceration. Okay? Or death. Heaven forbid. All right, thank you. Anybody like to close out with a prayer? Anyone? Everyone, please rise to your feet, please. Thank you.